Hey string players, today we're going to be looking at pages 14 and 15 in your lesson book. So you can go ahead and open up to page 14. If you're a violin or a viola, you'll see that this is a review of shifting between first and third position. And that was the intent of this page. Unfortunately, for cellos and basses, you have a little bit more work than just going between two positions, just because of the way that your instrument is set up. So over these first couple of pages, cellos, you're going to be in 5 different positions. So yours is a little bit more challenging on that end, but I know it's something that you're used to. And going through this sort of review is going to set things up for how we are going to approach this lesson book, these exercises throughout the year. So there's 2 things I want you to keep in mind. First of all, when we're doing this, it's all about accuracy. So I know that all of you can look at this and understand what it's asking you to do and do it, but sometimes it wouldn't always be perfect, right, the first time. So we're working on when you have to shift from a B to a D, are you exactly on the D when you shift, or do you have to slide up? We're trying to avoid sliding up. Or is the shift smooth, or did you have to kind of stop for a second to get there? These are the types of things we're working on. We're working on getting better at these shifts. And even I struggle sometimes with making mistakes in these. So you'll see in these videos, maybe I'll make a mistake and go back and do it again. So it's about accuracy, not just can I rush through these and play them. Okay, and the second thing is to make sure we're really following what the exercise says in terms of what position to be in. So there's a lot of different ways that you could play all of these exercises. And if you were working on a solo, I would give you the go ahead to pick whatever way you feel is best in most cases. But this book was designed in a very specific way, and we'll kind of explore that in a minute, where you get an opportunity to try every different type of shift that there is. And then in theory, at the end of the page or the 2 pages, you would have done all of the shifts that you possibly could do on your instrument. So for example, on the viola, maybe you're going from what's called a 1-1 shift, so from first finger to first finger. And then the next exercise might be a 1-2 shift. And they're going to go through all of these different types of shifts to get you comfortable with them, because you could potentially have any of those in a piece of music that you're playing. So we're going to take a look. I have to flip my page, but you don't. We're going to take a look at number 39 on page 14. And I'll grab my violin here. And the first thing we need to do is check our key signature, because they do change key signatures every line here. They're not messing around. They really want you looking and checking to make sure that you know what key you're in. And that's going to change your finger pattern for each exercise. So we're in the key of D major, 2 sharps. And we all start in first position, unless you're a bass. And we shift in the second measure. So we're getting ready to shift in the second measure. This is what we call a replacement shift. It means that you were playing a D, so you would either with 3 or 4 fingers, depending on who you are, and then you're going to shift up and play a D, but with a different finger. So when you do this shift, the idea is it should sound identical, right? Playing a note with 3 fingers and playing a note with 1 finger should still sound the same. So that's what we're looking for in this. This is called a replacement shift. So I'm going to play line 39. You can play along with me at home. Ready? Here we go. Go back. And back up. Okay, so always listening. Is that D perfectly in tune? So now let's take a look at number 40. And I told you they really mix things up for you, right? So now we're in the key of C major instead of D major. So our first note is a C natural. So you have to really make sure you watch, or you might have started with a C sharp right from the beginning. So we have a C natural, and then we're shifting up to an E. So cellos, you're going from first to fourth position. That should be actually a very comfortable shift for you already, 2 fingers to 1. And violins and violas, we're doing a 2-2 shift. And this actually, I found for students, tends to be kind of a tricky one, going to 2 fingers. So you're actually going from a low 2 for the C natural, And then when you shift up, your first finger goes on D, and then it actually is a space to your second finger. So it kind of feels like you're going from a low two to a high two. So keep that in mind when you're doing that shift. So here we go. I'm going to play 40. Go ahead and play along with me. Ready? Here we go. Now a 1-to-1 shift here. 2-to-2. So you can see with that example, there actually was two different types of shifts in there, 2-to-2 and then the 1-to-1. So this book is for more advanced students, so they might sometimes put two different shifts in one as we get further along here. All right, 41. Now the challenge here is you're going to shift while you're slurring those two notes together. So the shift occurs in a slur. That happens all the time in higher level solo repertoire for string instruments. So we need to be able to do this, okay? And so as you're moving your bow, I'll just demonstrate that second measure in 41. You have to just be able to go right up to it, and we're going to avoid this. Right? That technically is the right thing, but you played a B and then every single note in between until you got to D. You don't want that. It should be just a quick get right up there. And this is much harder than having separate bows because you really have to just get right there and know the spot. So this is again another challenge within this review. So here's number 41. And by the way, still in the key of C. So they didn't change the key this time, starting on a C natural. Ready, here we go. Good, and cellos, you get a little second extended position in there. So those extended positions are a little bit more challenging. All right, 42, do we see anything? It's a lot of the same stuff from 42. You can see, let's see, there is a 3-to-3 shift right off the bat for violins and violas. Cellos, again, yours is always a little bit different. Yours is a 4-to-3, but I'm actually going to leave 42 for you to do on your own. I'm not going to go through everything today. And 42, again, just pointing out, it's in the key of D major, so back to our F sharps and C sharps. Okay. Maybe I'll play 40. Let's see, I'm either going to do 43 or 44. How about we do 44? All right, this one has a slur on the shift, and we're going from 1 to 4. This is a big shift, so from a B to a G. So you might actually just, again, I don't know if I said I'm on 44. You might just practice doing that over and over again. And if you don't hit it the first time, take note, was I flat or was I sharp? And then adjust the next time you do it. We are back in C major, so the key we've been hanging out in for a little while. So we're gonna play this 44. Give it a whirl here. All right, starting on our C natural. Ready, here we go. Awesome. So that's probably one of the more challenging ones, that big shift, especially if you're playing cello. That is a lot of movement for one beat of having to shift right up. All right, and I will play the last one here on page 14, number 45. And go ahead and play along with me at home. Ready? Here we go. Beautiful. Very nice. Now, so 14 that we just went through, most of 14, the ones that I didn't play, please practice them on your own. But now I'm just going to take a quick look at 15, give you some instructions, and then kind of leave you to do 15 on your own. So if you are a violin, 15 should look very similar to 14. In fact, I think everything is identical in the shifting. The only difference is you are on the E string instead of the A string. But violas and cellos don't have that advantage of having an E string, and so your shifting is a little bit different. So you're sometimes you're actually playing everything an octave lower than the violins would be. So yours won't look identical. So this actually is a good challenge for the violas and the cellos to do something different instead of the two pages being the same. But as you look through it, they actually will sound very, very similar to what you played, just 1/5 higher in pitch. So before, if we started on a D. Now we're starting on an A. You can see that with number 46. But you're going to have a little bit of different fingering, if that makes sense. So your job now is to go through page 15 and hit all of those exercises too, again, following the shifting that they've put in place for you. And so when you come to your lesson, we're going to go through page 14 and page 15, and then we'll start looking at some of the other stuff coming up in the book. So again, page 14 and 15, and I'll see you at your lesson. And if you have any questions before that, let me know.